we have a system here now. On my team, you get appointments, not leads. I set appointments for you. So the ISA, inside sales agent, will take the calls. The first quarter of this year, out of that number, they booked 30% of the leads that we generated. And that's unheard of in this marketplace. It's not anything to do with the market. It's the way we market. It's because we're doing reverse prospecting. We're marketing in such a way that our message is ringing the bell for them and they're responding to it.
Hey everyone, Shaune Corbett, Real Estate Success. I have a special guest, Tracy King. How are you, Tracy?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing, Shaune?
Man, I am above average.
Above
Um,
average.
Tracy is in a lot of different markets. Some of you may not know, but he's absolutely taken over Tennessee. Before he even joined the brokerage he's at now, he was known as the Kings of Real Estate. That's been a branded message that he's had out there, and he's done some really big promotional things with it. And I want to talk a little bit about that and how it's impacted his business. But I always like to kind of start with some basic things first. And the first thing is you probably could have done a lot of other things, but you ended up selling real estate. How in the
Hmm.
world did you get into selling real estate?
It's because I've done a lot of other things. But no, I used to be 18 years old and I was in the steel service center and stayed in that business for 25 years, ended up working in a steel plant and owning a steel service center company, 49% of one. I just I got in sales and asked for the opportunity, got the opportunity to get in steel sales. I took a company that was making a little less than $1 million in sales a year. They gave me the opportunity, and I got to take that company to up to $10 million a year in sales in 5 years. So I found my passion in sales and grew that company, sold it, and just took some time and just wanted to do sales and sold for a big company up in Chicago. I was the Southeastern rep, and then I got tired of traveling, and my wife got into real estate in 2005, and so I stepped in it in 2006 of October when the market just tipped over and started downside. So I've been through the hard times of real estate and I know what it takes to get through them. I had experience in, up and down markets in the steel business. So we got through that. And 2012, we opened up our own brokerage and we haven't looked back.
Fantastic. How long you been with your home sold guaranteed?
And when it officially became in place in 2020.
Okay, 2020. Okay. And I'm
Mhm.
sure you were obviously using a lot of the principles and trainings and things that they were sharing prior to you ever going into the actual brokerage aspect, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I had ran across Todd Walters, the CFO or CEO of YSSGR back in 2012, right when I was opening up my brokerage, my wife and I, and so we had him as a mentor, and then we decided to do the Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Became one of the founders with Todd and a couple other people, and we launched out into this Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty.
I love
And,
it. Yeah, you and I actually we met in person actually just about 3 weeks ago.
mhm.
And I asked you some questions about, your growth and some of the success you've had, and you identified a couple of things. And I know it's not a space everybody can operate in, but I want to talk about your impact on your business. So
Mhm.
you are in different markets in the Tennessee area. You've got more than one operation because you want to be reasonably local to that zip code so you can service them as effective as possible. But you use billboards and postcards. You talked to me about what that's done and the success you've had, and that's one of your highest reflective call to action opportunities where you get a lot of energy from that, a lot of opportunities. So how has that really worked for you, and what do you have as advice on
Yeah.
billboards and postcards?
Well, we have four locations. We just opened up our fourth one in Nashville. And so we have one in Knoxville, one in Sevier County with Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge area, and then one in what's called the Tri-Cities, Johnson City, Bristol, Kingsport area. And we have a saying where we're omnipresent. So being omnipresent means, I like to use football analogies because I like football. So we have our ground game, direct mail. Then we have, billboards, ground game. Then we have our air attack, I call it, and that's radio and TV. You get all these things working together, and it just makes them all that much better. And our direct mail, I know a lot of people says, direct mail's dead. I make over $1 million a year on one direct mail piece, and I have three direct mail pieces. So it's not dead to me. And but also we have billboards, and we're on radio and TV.
Let me emphasize the postcard part, right? So if
Mhm.
the average agent said, I'm going to run this neighborhood, I'm going to work it the 6 months, right? You got to do it 6 months to see if it works. That's the general thought. And the conversion rate might be, I don't know, 0.5%. I'm just, kind of throwing that out
Yeah, it's
there.
pretty low. Yeah.
So I do it in 6 months. I do it for 0.5%. You're saying that if I had done a billboard and had a radio ad, that postcard now will maybe double or triple. Maybe it runs at 1.5%. Is that kind of the way you're thinking of it?
No, let me tell you why it works. It's because I don't do mailings in a zip code. I buy a list. So I buy a list, so that's why it's called direct mail. I'm targeting a direct particular market, a particular client. So let's just use absentees for example.
So some
I
areas might be hotter than other areas.
Yeah, so in one area that I live in, I have a lot of absentee owners. And so I target them. Now, they're not getting mail at the place that they have here. They're getting mail at where they live. So I have a list of those people, and I target them. And then we have the other things, like we have a list of who's most likely to sell. And in Knoxville, I do that one, and that one works really well, but it's targeted for who's most likely to make a sale. So the message to marketplace is very important. So that's how, and then you have on top of that, you have your message. We have a message of on the radio and on TV that correlate with everything we're doing, and it all just kind of works together because they hear you, they see you, and they get something in the mail from you.
This is an important distinction, right? Agents want to force a neighborhood to work for them, right? Because they target it. They said, well, I know the neighborhood, or I maybe know a few neighborhoods, or maybe I know a zip code. But what you're saying is, why do that? Why not just go to the ones that actually want to sell? Instead of
So
trying to force that city or that neighborhood to work for you, why don't you
yeah,
have the client tell you they want you to come work for them?
yeah, go fishing in a bigger lake. You're fishing in a small lake by doing it
With
that
with
way.
with targeted fishing spots.
Yes. Yeah. We know they're biting in this lake in this area, so go fish there.
I love that. Yeah, that's big. Okay, so let's talk about expansion. Actually, before
Yes.
expansion, I want to talk about scaling because that's important. You don't expand before you got to scale first. So
Uh,
you are sitting here talking to me, and you're not selling any houses right now. And your company, I know, is probably sold well over 5,000 homes, if not more.
oh, yeah.
Okay, I mean it's only
Yeah.
what I can see on Zillow, but I assume you've. What do you think you've sold over this period of time?
Oh, we average 600 homes a year, and we've been doing it for what, 15 years now. So it's a lot.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's not another agent probably listening to this that can do 600 homes a year. So let's hear from someone that does. That's a big, most won't even sell that in their entire lifetime for sure.
yeah.
So the only way to do that is you can't be in the car showing houses and you can't be in the car talking to sellers. So that's not going to work. So how do you get into the scaling aspect and how is that something that you think would be of value to the people watching?
Yeah, I think what you need to decide, like, okay, so you're one person. Like I could be a single agent, and I was, and then my wife and I, we counted as just as together one single agent, and we had two admin, and we hit a ceiling. Again, my wife said, like, we were working 6 to 7 days a week and long days, and everybody knows the game. But she said, I'm not going to do this much longer. So I knew I had to come up with something different. And so with that, we got with our mentor, we developed what we call an inside sales agent, ISA, built the ISA team because I was doing both. And then we started hiring agents and training them. And then we got that going. And this is over a period of years to make this happen. But we got a pretty good sized team going. And then in 2018, I pulled out of production. And then I could really concentrate just on working on the business instead of working just in it. And so as I started working on the business, we had a lot of rapid growth and expansion started happening. I just never considered stepping back in it. Do I love sales? Absolutely love sales, but I found a new way to sell, and that's through marketing. So I still got my juices flowing and sales part by marketing. And, and really what it comes down to in sales, if you think about it, it's really, you like winning. That's what it is. You like winning. And so I love winning. And so I'm out here winning every day.
You threw out a term, ISA. That is not a term that I think any brokerages that I know of even know what that means. So let's
Yeah.
talk about it's a unique proposition. It's not the agent that we hire does everything. They put signs in the yard, they run around, working the buyers and they go work sellers and they're doing all these crazy things. And they're a one-man show doing all the work. That's not scalable. So what does an ISA do? What does that do for your group? And how does that help you expand?
Okay. So I have a brokerage, and for a long time, I didn't have anybody at my brokerage that wasn't on my team. And what's that mean is I set appointments for you to go and meet clients. So that was that model. I didn't have a solo agent where they just hung their license at my brokerage and they just went and worked their sphere of influence. I didn't have that going. I do now, but I didn't have that. On my team, you get appointments, not leads. I set appointments for you. So the ISA, inside sales agent, we'll take the calls. This is people because the way we market the call-ins, they will talk to the person on the other line, find out what their time frame is, and if it's 3 to 6 months, they're looking to make a move. And then we had qualifying questions that we'd ask. They book appointment, and they either, if it's a buyer, they meet us at our office. If it's a seller, we meet at their home. And then the agents just the best agent got the best appointment and as many as they can skillfully handle. And then eventually the marketing we do is so strong that we had to hire agents pretty quickly. And so we've got 5 inside sales agents right now looking to do a 6th one, but for every one inside sales agent, they ought to be able to service 4 to 5 what we call outside sales agents. So that's the marketing that we do. And because the response we're getting, they it's forced us to grow. And the growth is like, we have so much business to take care of. We have to make sure we have enough people to handle it.
That's an important distinction, right? Inside sales agent, the way you've defined it or set it up, is a receiving calls because offers
Hmm.
are made. Offers are made to the public. The public says, I like what you have to say. Tell me more about that. They have the conversation, they convert it, and it's not a lead. It's now set as an appointment. And then your outside sales agents go work the appointment.
Yeah.
That's
And
important.
the ISAs are not cold calling. They're, like you said, they're taking the calls, however it's either by email or message or text or whatever, but they're responding to people that have reached out to us. And that's an important part. And then another cool fact is the first quarter of this year, we had, I can't remember the number of leads that we generated, and the ISAs booked, but out of that number, they booked 30% of the leads that we generated.
Really.
And that's unheard of in this marketplace.
Do you think it's because of market timing? It's just because it's still slow, I think, for the general agent out there, but
I,
maybe sellers aren't wanting to take risks.
no,
Maybe
I
they
don't think
see you as a risk averse.
it's not anything to do with the market. It's the way we market. It's because we're doing reverse prospecting. we're marketing in such a way that our message is ringing the bell for them and they're responding to it. So that's why we have such a high conversion rate for our leads that we generate and book. And then we book them and we're signing, people, and it's 70% minimum, and it's going great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's important. Like most agents that work in a brokerage, they have outbound call time where they just start cold calling.
Right.
And you're saying there's not going to be any of that here. We're waiting. We're at a place that people will be calling us because we
Hmm.
have what they want. If you can create something that the consumer wants, then they will call you, I think is a general.
Yeah, and a lot of it too, if you see the name of the company right behind me is Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty versus other names in the industry. I won't mention, but just name one. But you compare the names, ours speaks certainty. It tells you what we're doing. We sell homes and we guarantee it to sell.
Since you brought it up, I want to talk about that, okay? Because you have
Hmm.
been the kings of real estate for a long time, and even I think you came over to Your Home Sold, you were still kings of real estate. I think you
Hmm.
promoted it that way. I think your website started with that. That was your starting point. And I think a few years back, you made a decision to finally change it and
Yeah.
lead with the proposition. So let's say you could have been with KW. I mean, I talked about
Right.
brokerage. I don't care. And I respect KW considerably. But if your name was KW, the Kings of Real Estate, yeah, you'd put the Kings of Real Estate in front of KW. KW doesn't sell anything. It doesn't offer a value proposition. It's not proving that you have anything to give them comfort with anything. So
Right.
you made that change, and it was really the brand of your real estate company created that opportunity. So kind of talk about that transition and what's happened since then. It's now been a few years.
Do you remember what was going on in April of 2020?
Yes. A little
Yeah.
COVID.
COVID.
Yeah.
So that month, April of 2020, I changed from Kings of Real Estate to Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And a lot of people would think, man, that was just crazy. There's too much risk. There's too much instability going on. But I saw that I just knew that when I made the change, but I mean, we saw like a quantum leap going in our business. And the only thing we did different was change our name at that point. The marketing stayed the same. I didn't change any different types of marketing, just changed the name. And we had a lot of growth. And then from that point, we just continued to lean into it.
Well, it changes public perception. Now they have a different perception of what you are and what you're about instead
Hmm.
of, I mean, the Kings of Real Estate, that could mean a lot of things.
Right.
It doesn't mean I'm going to get my house sold faster or anything by
No,
you. It
no.
just means that, you've built a brand and you've got a name and people might recognize it, but it's not making any value proposition to you. I think people really need to take it to heart because a lot of, and you've been in the business a long time. I talk to a lot of brokers. I do interviews like this all the time, and it's hard getting a lot of them to get even in a podcast room because, man, a lot of them have giant egos and they're
Mm,
so proud of their name and they're so proud of their brand. And it's holding them down to selling 50, 60 houses a year. That's all they're ever going to sell. If
mm.
you want to sell hundreds and make it scalable, then you're going to have to offer something beyond just your own name.
Yeah,
And that's a
yeah.
hard thing for most of them to ever swallow that, their ego with it. So that's a
Well,
good lesson learned.
it is. Yeah. And my whole thing was, we set out to be the best real estate company and the best place to work. And I just didn't think we were going to get to the where we wanted to be just using, King's the real estate name. I mean, it's a cool name. People love it, but like you said, it didn't scale like your home sold guarantee really.
Well, let me ask you differently. I always had this thing where I never wanted to name a business after my name
Hmm.
because one, I didn't want the business to be bigger than me and replace me. And two, I didn't see other people getting excited about building my brand and my name. And I thought that would be a hard growth, scalable thing. And that's the reason why I never got into that. It's probably very much the same in this space, right? I feel like you could probably get a whole lot more people behind your home sold guaranteed than you could Kings of Real Estate. Like it's just easier because it's a bigger than you, it's bigger than us, it's bigger than all of us. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll take it a little bit further. I think that I know, not think that Google liked your home sold guaranteed realty a lot more than King's Real Estate.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I forgot there was a big aspect to what made that
yeah,
change really work well for you.
yeah. The algorithm of that, and then marketability of the name, and then but the consumer, especially sellers, really connected to that because they understood what we're about. Just like I says, our name is our promise. You can see that, but your home sold guaranteed realty, our name is our promise, and consumers really, it's like a seller magnet.
It's funny because you almost like tripled your Google benefit without spending a dime.
Yeah, and
It
we
really,
got
I mean, think about it,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
instantly overnight, you tripled your Google benefit without giving them any money. You made them work for you.
yeah. That's right.
All right, let's talk about expansion. You
Okay,
can't sell in your markets, probably selling 600 in your original store would be a problem. But when you have four, that allows you to do a lot more overall volume. And the scale and the systems and everything is still the same. You just have it in a different, location.
right.
So talk about how someone can get into the expansion space and what does that look like? How did you get into it?
We have a system here now. Your home sold guaranteed realty. At Kings of Real Estate, I mean, it was when it was just my wife and I, we didn't really have a good system. We had the basic stuff, just to make things work. But this one, we have a turnkey, full implemented system where we can grow and expand, and there's no ceiling. So once we got the pattern down, we went from Sevierville into Knoxville, from Knoxville into Johnson City, Johnson City into Nashville, and then we're going to third quarter we're looking at going in Chattanooga, and then we'll just see where it takes us. But our goal this year is to sell. I like to see us get to where we're knocking on the door of 1,000 units, selling 1,000 homes, and helping that many people. And we're going to get there. And if the market is where you might be in a market that might be not big enough, or you have one that's maybe crowded, that's when you should look at expanding. I think you should get all you can in the market you're in. And then I think when you feel like you've hit the wall, then expand. And once you have a system in place, mine was pretty simple. We know what works marketing wise. It works in every market. And
Because all the sellers have the same needs.
all the sellers and the buyers, they all have the same
Yeah.
needs. And so we just duplicate that and implement it. And then we have our ISA team is just in one office we have in Knoxville. And then it's just a matter of getting agents, licensed agents, and training them and setting them up for appointments. It's just
I love
we
that. So you
just
don't have an ISA team in each office. You only have one
no,
central.
yeah,
You have it all organized. They all work together. They all see each other,
yeah.
and they
We
and
have
they're
a
able to.
Yeah, and with that, with the team, we have what we call a DOCC, which is a Department of Client Care, and they help the agents with literally everything. They don't have to go on the MLS and put their listings on. We do all of that. They don't have to do. There's a lot of things they don't have to do. We take care of it from once they submit the bound contract, we take care of it all the way till closing day. And then the agent will, and the only time the agent's involved, if there's something that has to be renegotiated, like on inspection or that kind of thing. So there's a lot of the heavy lifting that we have taken off the agent's plate so they can focus on the needs of the client that's in front of them. And they can just go from appointment to appointment to appointment to appointment, and as many as they can skillfully handle, and that's how they can increase their income, is because we removed all the other obstacles that they're having to take care of.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. It's like a foreign language, I promise you, to most agents, because they
Yeah.
just assume I have a license. That means I have to do everything. And there are a lot of things you should not be doing. I try to educate people, think about your hourly wage and you're
Right.
doing things, you should be at $200 to $300 an hour. And you're doing things that are, $20, $30 an hour.
Yeah, that's a it's funny that you bring that up because my wife understands this very well. And she's like, I mean, I don't mow my yard. I don't do maintenance around my house. I mean, she's like, you don't have time for that. I'll get this taken care of. We have people come in and take, I don't do any of those things. So my time is here because she recognizes what we make per hour, of what we can deal out to people to take care of things for us that it would take my time away from what we do. So I think people should be able to look at that. Like if you are in a position where you're having to do all this admin work, which you could hire somebody for 15 bucks an hour, but if you're out there selling homes and you're averaging 50, 60 bucks an hour, which one should you be doing?
Yeah.
It's simple math.
It's a good point we all should own, and we should own that in our business. We should
Yeah.
understand, you can't scale doing 30 and $40 an hour work. That's not how you're going to scale.
Yeah, and you're not going to scale if you don't have time to work on the business.
Yeah.
If you're always in it, and and I see it happen. It happens to a lot of people. They're constantly meeting with buyers and sellers, but they don't have time to work on the business to where they can hire somebody else and get them trained and get them taking the appointments, and you can pull back from the production some and work on the business so you can scale it.
This is an important distinction. Most agents don't have the ability to hand off clients because they don't have a system.
Correct.
Tracy, you and I are in the same brokerage. Hey, I've got a lead. You want to go work it? Great. You go work it. You're not going to do it the way I did it because I don't
Yeah.
have a system. And
Right.
you don't have a system. You're just going to wing it and you're going to do it the best way you think is going to handle it. And then we don't have any commonality there. And
Mhm.
that's not a scalable business.
No.
You got to have systems and processes. Um, the other thing I wanted to emphasize is for anyone out there, if you want to effectively create a reverse prospecting opportunity and people calling you and make reverse offers, focus on the things that buyers and sellers really need help with. And if you can address those things, people will call you. I'll give one simple example: communication. Right, it's the number one complaint, and sellers don't always realize it until they hire someone and they never hear from them. Then
Mm,
all of a sudden it's like, what the heck? That was the worst thing. They never got back to me. So if you can address that, and there are ways to do it, you and I know some ways we can do it, but there are ways you
mhm.
can do it. If you can address that, that gives you a leg up over your competition. You have any thoughts on those things?
Yeah. Yeah. We have in our agreements, we have six seller benefits, guarantees actually, that we sign up for that we do. And one of them is communication. We guarantee that your phone call will be returned in less than 24 hours or same day. I can't remember how we got it wrote. It's not hard to do. Or we'll pay you X. So we put our money where we put our money where we're saying that, hey, we're going to do these things, and if we don't, we're going to pay a penalty. Not you, but we. So we hold ourselves to a high standard, and sellers recognize that, and they want to do business with people that they can count on. Agents need to remember this. I tell my agents all the time, when a seller or a buyer signs the agreement and you sign the agreement, you just made a you just made a contract between each other. And you said that you're going to do all these things and you're going to be like this and you're going to do that. You have to live up to it.
Yeah.
We expect the seller to live up to the agreement that they signed, but you as an agent and and me as a brokerage, we have to live up to it. And so I think people need to really understand that, especially from the agent's point of view, when you make statements of what you're going to do for them, you need to be able to be sure you can deliver it.
Another interesting point of distinction is most of us as agents use NAR and local agency or local association documents for listing agreements and buyer agreements.
Hmm.
You don't use either of those. And the
No,
ones
there's
created
no,
by NAR and all of them are don't make any offers. They don't make any guarantees. They don't really do
no.
anything for the consumer. So talk to us about why your document's going to be different.
You said it. It doesn't make any agreement or any guarantee to them, and it's just a document that really agents think it's best for the consumer. I can tell you, if you're a consumer, it's really protecting the agent more than it is consumer. And some agents think like it's against the law or it's unethical, and it is not. There is no law or any ethic to the point to where you have to use NAR or MLS boards paperwork. It's that is not that's incorrect. So we do it because just basically because really it is to me it's more transparent to the seller because we're writing in the guarantees or all the things we say we're going to do for you as as the agency, and we have a written binding contract that we all will live by. It's not about any of the other stuff that's in the NAR agreements. It's a lot more than that.
Yeah, and we're in the business to work for consumers. We should be
Yeah,
consumer first, right? I mean, for
that's right.
everything we do, we should be consumer first.
Right.
And it's going to hurt agents' feelings, but that's okay. Consumer first overrides everything. And it should be the principle for, certainly for Trek. I wish it was more so for NAR, but NAR just kind of gets in the way a lot of times in the
Right.
way that they do it. They're like counter to, agency and what we're trying to do to help.
Yeah. Makes it a little harder for us to do business, but that's why, we gotta, you just, we need to just cut through the stuff, the red tape or whatever you want to call it, and get down to the brass tacks of things and to be very well spelled out to the consumer. This is what we're going to do. This is what you agreed upon. This is what I agreed upon. And this is how we're going to get your home sold or help you find a house, whatever it is we're doing for the consumer. And here's the guarantees and benefits that we're going to provide.
I've got a question for you. Are you a member of NAR?
I am because I'm not going to get into all of it, but because of the MLS, if you want to function right now that's changing some, but if you want to function within the MLS, you have to be a member of NAR in my area. So that I think is going to change pretty soon. And we're seeing some of the MLSs in the state of Tennessee give an opt out for that. And yes, I'll be opting out as soon as I get the ability to do so.
So I'm in the biggest association of realtors locally. It's called the Metro Tax, which is Dallas Fort Worth,
Yeah.
and they do not require NAR membership to get the MLS.
Uh,
So if you were in my market, you would fire NAR. Is that what you're saying?
yes, I
Okay.
would fire NAR. They, you can just, I don't know. It's just, they're in the news. Everybody knows everything that's going on. And I just don't see the use of paying them.
Okay. Very good. All right. So you are on social media. I know you still use Kings of Real Estate for some of your social media stuff as well, since it's such a clever,
Yeah.
great brand.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
can connect with you there. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Anything that you would like to promote or share? Are you growing in Tennessee and you're looking for agents? I mean, that could be something you could use some help with.
Yes, yeah, we need agents and like-minded agents. So if you would like to do that, we're looking in the Nashville area. We're looking all over East Tennessee, and so we are looking for agents that can partner with us and help us with the business that we are creating. Like again, we are setting appointments, so our agents don't have to do a lot of anything besides just go to the appointment and get people signed up to sell their house or to buy a house.
Yeah, for the agents that wanted to get into real estate to actually sell real estate and not put signs in yards, do everything else, that might be a good opportunity.
Yeah.
The average agent I looked up the last time I read was $56,000 a year. The average agent in the United States. What do you think your average agent working at Tracy King's Kings of Real Estate, your home sold guaranteed in in Tennessee? What is the average agent? What do you think they
I
make?
don't know the exact number, but I do know it's over 100 grand.
Okay.
And they don't spend money on generating business or anything. It's just, they don't, like you said, they don't put signs out. I supply all the signs. We put them out. We pick them up. We do all the photography. We
Yep.
have drone. We do it all.
So
It's just,
they get paid double what they can make elsewhere, and they don't have the marketing, the social media expense, the lead generation expense, right?
right.
And then just chasing all of that. They get opportunities. The opportunities have high close rates. They're not 1 in 3 or 1 in 10.
Um,
They're 70%, I think is what you said.
yeah. So
That's
it's
great.
important that the conversion rate's high because I spend a lot of money getting them in front of us, you know?
Sure.
So yeah, so a 70% rate is you'll get there to do that at least 70%. The other, if they want to spend money to go generate business for themselves, that's fine. It's just they don't have to. And a lot of my agents are making six figures and not spending any money to do so.
That's an important distinction. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Tracy, for jumping on the podcast with
Yeah,
me. I really
sure.
appreciate
Yeah.
it.
I got another one to get to. Thank you for your time.
Awesome. For all of you out there, if you are new to the podcast, I always ask if you don't mind subscribe. I do interviews like this every week. Tracy was an exceptional one. We don't always have 5,000, 10,000 plus, house selling agents jump on, but he has been transparent. He shared everything that would be of value to you. And until next week, have a high performance week. And I appreciate you. Thanks.
That wraps up another episode of Real Estate Success DFW. I hope you're leaving with new insights that push your real estate career forward. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with fellow agents who's ready to succeed. And if you're interested in working together or have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me directly. My personal phone is 214-228-0383. Let's connect and make real estate success happen together. Until next time, keep pushing forward. I'm Shaune Corbett, and this is the Real Estate Success DFW. Have a high performance week.